for the GA4 doc.
Perfect, thanks. But yeah, I am Katie Beekman, the head of data and analytics at Elevar, and today I have Vishal Gore, one of our talented senior analytics specialists with me, and we're going to walk through what we like to use for our GA4 audit configuration. The idea is we're going to go nice and slow, maybe painfully slow, so you can pull up your GA4 property and walk along with us and update it along the way. So for the agenda, we're going to start off in the GA4 property settings. So you can go ahead and pull up your GA4 admin panel. Vishal is going to walk us through all of that. Then we're going to tag team going through a reporting health check. So diving into the data, making sure everything's looking good, looking for any red flags that might indicate a tracking issue. Then I'll walk through a couple of custom reports that we like to set up for all of our clients and show you where you can create some custom reports of your own that would be helpful for your business. Then we'll dive into some Q&A, and then hopefully if we have time, I'll walk us through using an app script to migrate any universal analytics behavior events you have in GTM and move those over to GA4. So that you can start to collect all of that data in GA4. So assuming most of you are familiar with Elevar, but just in case you have not heard of us, we are a Shopify app. Our mission is to make setting up tracking as quick and easy as possible, while also giving you the best data as possible. So we have a bunch of server-side tracking destinations that guarantees 100% of your conversions are tracked, along with a comprehensive customer and session attribution data, so that you can boost your ROI and your marketing channels will perform better, which is the ultimate goal of tracking. We do typically see that our customers receive around 10 to 30% more conversions in their marketing platforms using the server-side destination as opposed to your typical browser-side tracking in Google Tag Manager. So with that, I'll pass it over to Vishal, and he'll get us started going through the audit doc.
And is everyone just in the chat real quick? Can everyone get that? See the link to the audit doc? You can make a copy. It's a Google Sheet. If you still can't, anyone can't see it, just leave a note there in the chat and we'll drop it in there again. And at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's a Q&A. Okay, awesome. I see some questions already, so we'll monitor that. And all right, Vishal, all you.
Should be the host now. Let me know if not.
Yes, thank you so much, Katie and Brad. Hey, everyone. Super excited to have you all here. I hope, am I audible clearly? And I will just minimize this. And we'll get started. So first of all, since you are already here, you know that Google have decided that GA4 will be the mainstream property, mainstream form of Google Analytics starting from July 1st, and our beloved Universal Analytics will be going away. So just because Google have decided, we have to move on GA4, even though we like it or not. And yeah, that will be the main property going forward. So I'll be, today me and Katie will be walking you through some changes. So for that, if you are planning to do all those changes along with us, you can open up the sheet and create a copy that is there in the chat. You can click on File, make a copy, and then you can open your Google Analytics account. I would require you to, if you are following me and making those changes at the same time, then I would request you to open your Google Analytics, the old one, Universal Analytics, as well as the GA4. So that will be going through back and forth between both of them and copying the configuration from there to here. And additionally, it would be also great if you are a Shopify store owner. You can also keep your Shopify store admin section open to just validate a few initial settings there. And yeah, that will be it. Let's get started. So first one, let's see. So I'll just walk you through very quickly through this document here. And me and Katie will be walking you through each and every of the steps. There are more than 45 items here. And if I can see 86 people here right now on the webinar. So yeah, it's great to see you all here. And if we'll be also sharing some bonus nuggets during this webinar. So if you were planning to drop off after receiving the this audit sheet, or you're already dropped off, it's your loss, because there will be some bonus nuggets in between as well. So first of all, about this sheet here, you can see the settings that needs to be configured, that needs to be validated for GA4. Then there is a status bar where we can select pass, whether it is already working or not, fail, it is not working, it is still not working, needs updating. Even after us making the change, there is still some configuration or confirmation required from someone. In that case, you can select needs updating. Then unknown, if you are not aware about this, just to keep a record, select unknown. Fixed, whenever we go through any of this, and we'll be doing that, and we fix anything in GA4, which is not correct right now, we'll be marking that as fixed, and you can apply not applicable if it is not applicable for you. Here, there is a notes tab, recommendation tab, where you can keep some of your notes. So for example, if you are following me through and Katie through during this audit, and at place you identify that, okay, there are 7 or 8 custom dimensions that you need to migrate from Universal Analytics to GA4, and that would require you some more time, then do not fall back. You can just keep a note here that I need to migrate this later, and follow us along so that you can do the rest of all the changes while we are on the call. Sounds good? All right, and I will also be checking in few questions related to this settings that we are making. I would request you all to keep the questions limited to this changes that we are making, just to respect everyone's time. And let's get started. First one is time zone matches Shopify. So if you are a Shopify store owner and working with a Shopify store, what we recommend is making sure that your Google Analytics 4 property time zone and Shopify time zone matches, so that you don't see difference in data. I will quickly open our testing Shopify store, and will show you from where you can see that setting. So once you open your Shopify admin, you need to click on settings. Under the store details, you will be able to see, if you scroll down here, you'll be able to see time zone. And you need to make sure that this is the same time zone that is configured on your GA4 property. So in order to do that, we'll go to admin. Under the property setting, here is the reporting time zone. We need to make sure the country is same and the time zone is also same. Here I can see the time zone is configured GMT -5. Here I can see GMT -4. So I'll quickly update that to Chicago time. Next one, and I'll go back to my property and mark this as complete. I'll mark this as fixed because we have updated the time. Next one is currency matches Shopify. Right now, our currency is US dollar. Here also, I can see US dollar. So I will mark this as pass. No changes required here. All right. Next one is enhance measurement enabled. So enhanced measurement is a GA4's feature where out of the box GA4 tracks a bunch of events from your website or your store and tracks that data into the reporting. Some of them are useful, some of them are not much. So this is the enhanced measurement. What you need to do, you just need to come to your property data stream, and you need to select your first your stream where you can see receiving data in past 48 hours. So the active stream, whichever stream is active, receiving data, sending the data to your GA4 property, will show that receiving traffic in past 48 hours. You need to click on that. And here you can see enhanced measurement. Right now, this is enabled for this property. If it is not enabled, we recommend enabling this one. So right now it is enabled. So I'll mark this as passed. And next one is under the enhanced measurement, we need to update page view or browser history change to disable. So there is a gear icon. If you notice that there is a gear icon. If you click on this, there will be a setting pop-up, setting window, which will open, where you can see all the events which enhanced measurement is tracking. And out of this, we are recommending to disable the browser history change page view. So here under the page view section, you can see show advanced settings. And there are two options here. Page load is checked by default. Second one is page change based on browser history event. So you need to disable this and click on save. What this does is that if your store or website is a single page application or a headless store, then in that case, this will automatically identifies some of the events as a page view and sends additional page view. We have also seen this misbehaving on certain stores where there is multiple products that you are displaying on product page and selecting, there is a product page and you are displaying multiple variants, and selecting a variant changes the URL at that time. If you don't want to track another page view on selection of variant, you can disable this one. We recommend disabling this one and clicking on save. So we have fixed this one. So I'll mark this as fixed.
Hey, Vishal.
And pass.
We have a couple questions about where the time zone was in Shopify. Can you go back there?
Sure. So in order to see your Shopify store time zone, you just need to log in onto your Shopify store. Quick and easy way is to type in your Shopify store name /admin, and it will ask you to log in. Once you are logged in on your Shopify admin section, you just need to click on settings on the down left, and under the store setting, without clicking anything, you just need to scroll down on the right hand side of the screen. And here you'll be able to see time zone and units of measurement. Here you can see the time zone selected for a Shopify store, and also the currency right above it selected for your store. I hope that's clear. All right. Coming back to the enhanced measurement. So we'll also be taking some questions after we go through 3 or 4 questions, and Katie will be letting me know if there are any questions or if any one of you gets stuck anywhere. So thank you for sharing that question. And next one is enhanced measurement, form interaction disabled. So under the enhanced measurement gear icon, there is also an interesting event called form interaction, which captures all the interaction. If there is any form on your website, it will capture all the form submits and form interaction in your GA4 as an event. To be honest, we have noticed this feature recording a lot of garbage data from website. It executes on some random pages at random times. So we have found this a little less useful. So you can disable this one and click on save. So we have also fixed this one. So I'll mark this as fixed and done. Next one is domains configured. So if your store is on multiple domains, let's say if you are a headless store and your store headless website is abc.com and your checkout page is checkout.abc.com on a subdomain. So that is just a subdomain, not a cross domain. Here we need to configure the settings for cross domain only. So let's say if you are 2 different domain, first one is abc.com, second one is xyz.com, and the users on your store are landing first on abc.com and then navigating to xyz.com and ends up making a transaction. Or if it is the case that users are moving from abc.com to xyz.com, in that case, we will need cross-domain tracking. So for that, to identify whether the cross-domain tracking is needed or not, we need to go to Universal Analytics property, the old without Google Analytics. So here, you need to go under Audience, Technology, and Network. Again, Audience, Technology, and Network. Once you are in the network report, there is an option to select primary dimension, select hostname here. By default, it will be service provider. You need to select hostname. So once you select hostname, the existing Universal Analytics property will show you how many hostname or domains are sending data to this Universal Analytics property. In this case, shop.googlemerchandisestore.com and www.googlemerchandisestore.com is sending data here, which makes the first one a subdomain of second one. So these two are not different domain. These two are just subdomain. The first one is just a subdomain of this main domain at the bottom here. So in this scenario, there is no need of doing cross-domain tracking. So I'll mark this as pass. But just in case, instead of shop.googlemerchandisestore.com here, there is a Google Store, googlenewsstore.com here. Then in that case, just to make sure, I will configure I will go to GA4 and I'll go to data streams. Click on this one, active stream, configure tag settings. So there is a whole bunch of settings here. So now once you are in the configure tag settings, again, on the stream, select configure tag settings. And once you are on this Google tag page, you just need to click show all, and it will show you all the settings that are hidden on GA4. So here, the second settings, you can see configure your domains. You need to click on this. And just like I mentioned, if you are able to see two entirely different domains here, sending data to your Shopify store, to your Universal Analytics property. And if it is only significant amount of traffic, then that is the case that you will require a cross-domain tracking setup. With GA4, cross-domain is super simple, unlike the Universal Analytics cross-domain where you had to do configurations and GTM. Here, you just need to add both of your domains here in the configure your domain section. So I will just quickly copy this domain, and just to show you as an example, I will add www.googlemerchandisestore.com here, or I will just remove this, and I will add googleteststore.com here, assuming that these both are different stores, different domains altogether, and users are going from this store to this store or this store to this store, irrespective of the sequence. And now, once you add your domains here, if you require cross-domain tracking only, then click on save, and that will be it. We have also configured this. All right, we are done with almost 6 changes, and we'll do 4 more, and we'll look into the questions. If you are stuck anywhere, just leave a note here and follow along, and later on you can review the settings so that you don't fall behind. Next one is include user-provided data. So right now we are under the tag settings only, Google tag here. There are a bunch of settings. One of them is allow user-provided data capabilities. What this does is that it allows your website to record the additional data for Google Ads for marketing purpose. So this will help Google identify user better by collecting some of the different parameters from their browser, from their additional behavior, and will record that in GA4. So we recommend allowing this. Right now it is already allowed, already enabled. So no changes required here. So I'll mark this as pass. So this setting was allow user provided data capabilities. And you just need to enable the first toggle if it is disabled. You don't need to do anything with these two. So you can leave that as it is. All right. Next one is collect Universal Analytics events disabled. So under the, we are still, okay, we are on the web stream. I'll quickly go back again to configure tag settings. Click on show all. And here, right now we are doing collect Universal Analytics events disabled. So here you can see there is an option, collect Universal Analytics events. Right now it is enabled. I will quickly disable this one. What this does is that this will not automatically collect all the events that you have configured in your Google Tag Manager. What it does is that it will collect all the events which is configured on your existing website or store via custom coding, GA coding on the website. So if your store is not 7-8 years old, you don't need to worry about this. You just disable this one, and that will be it. We recommend not keeping this enabled, just to be on the safer side. So I disable this. I will mark that as fixed because I have fixed it. And next one is internal traffic defined. All right, this is interesting. So I'll go back to GA4 settings, property settings. Now, what is internal traffic? So let's say if your universal analytics property has some filters and you want to migrate those filters to GA4, this is the option, but this option is only for IP address filters. So let's say if you go in, okay, for this, to validate this, you need to go to your universal analytics property, old Google Analytics, and click on filters, select appropriate view. If you have reporting data created as a view, select that. Or if you have filtered view title here, click that and click on filters, and then see what are all the filters that you can that you are able to see. So right now I'm able to see 2 IP address filter which are created here. How can I know this? I just created this for this demo, so that's why I know. If you want to check whether it is an IP address filter or not, you just need to click on the filter. And here you can see I have excluded traffic from IP address that equals to this. All right, so let's say if you have multiple employees working with a static IP address, and if you also have a server set up somewhere or dev agency set up somewhere who is working on all the store changes or website changes, we recommend adding those IP addresses, static IP addresses, to exclude on GA4. So now I have these 2 filters, IP address filters. So what will I do? I will just copy the IP address from here. We'll go back to our GA4 property settings. Right now I'm on the admin section of GA4. Here, there is a setting of data setting and data filters. Okay, we'll come here in a bit. Right now, we need to go to data stream. Click on the main stream. Click on configure tag settings. Show all. And here you can see define internal traffic. In this step, you need to define the internal traffic with the IP address. So you need to click on this, create. So what we are doing here is that we are creating IP address filter. So I'll click on create. I hope it loads. I think GA4 is acting up. Let me reload the page. All right, configure tag settings. Show all, define internal traffic, and create. Yes. So here you can see IP addresses. So I'll just paste the IP address here. I'll select IP address equal. You need to check what condition was here in the beginning, and that contains equals to, and you need to select the appropriate condition here and paste your IP address and give it a name. Here the name was Vishal's home IP address. I'll click create, and this IP address filter is created. Now, what we have done here is that if you see this, what we have done is that we have defined all the traffic coming from this IP address as internal. So it is just defining the traffic coming from this IP address as internal traffic, but this internal is just a term, the value that GA4 is storing. So now what we need to do is that we just need to copy this internal value, go back, go back, go back. So now we are on the GA4 admin section again, the main admin area of GA4. Under the data settings, that is second part of the setting. So here there is a data filter, and we need to click create filter, and we need to select internal traffic. And here you can see traffic type is already added in here as internal. If it is not coming in as internal, add internal here, give the filter a name, IP address filter. select active from the filter state. Otherwise, it will not work. Select active and then create. It will ask you to activate the filter or test it. Right now, you can test it out in the testing mode. Right now, I'm activating the filter. So now it is saying data filter is created, and I can see IP address filter is active here. So the internal traffic define was the first step where we defined or created the filter. And the second setting that we did inside the data filter was setting 23, internal traffic excluded. We did this both together because it is related. So I'll click fixed here and updated internal traffic exclusion. I will also mark this as fixed, done and done. All right, I'll quickly check for any questions. We are almost done with 10 settings. Katie, is there anything significant? Can I move forward?
Let's see. Maybe we can just address them verbally here. We've been knocking out a few of them. But Keith, you were asking about your site that's going to be moving over to WooCommerce. You can follow along these settings. It's not specific to Shopify at all. Our setup will be specific to Shopify, but you can still follow along here. Oh, and it just all moved. I say, Vishal, you can keep going and we'll just answer these, typing them out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. All right. Next one is referral exclusion, which plays an important part in looking at your data. Referral websites are stored, which are referring customers or visitors to your website, but it can include payment gateways and some internal websites as well, which you need to exclude. So in order to do the referral exclusion, what you need to do, you need to come to your Universal Analytics, the old beloved Google Analytics, click on tracking info under the settings and select referral exclusion list. Under the referral exclusion list, you'll be able to see a number of domains here. What you need to do, you need to copy all these domains and come to your GA4 property and again, go back to data stream, select the incoming stream. This is going to be your favorite setting, Google tag, because this is going to be your favorite navigation because all the settings are here under the configure tag settings. So after this webinar, you'll not forget this setting, navigation. Click on show all. Here, list unwanted referrals. So this is the option where we need to include all the domains to stop considering them as a referral and make sure our attribution is perfectly fine. So let's click on list unwanted referrals, and we'll have to manually copy each of these to the new GA4 property. So what I will do, I have a bonus nugget one. There is a app on iOS that you can use, copy less or any clipboard copy to quickly copy all the values, and that gets stored. So I'm right now copying this. I'll go back. I'll just paste them. Paste them and paste. Oops. So if you have any app like Copyless or any other app that stores your clipboard copy options, then it will be a bit more easier for you to do all the to copy all the items at once and then paste them all together, just like this, where you can paste each and every item in a sequence. But yeah, if there are no much values here, you can copy paste. I hope you are able to follow along. And once you add all of your domains here, make sure that you have selected referral domain contains and then save. So now we have also fixed the referral exclusion part as well. I'll mark this as fixed. Next one is session timeout. So usually this is how GA4 identifies when to start a session, when to finish a session, close a session. So again, you need to go into the data stream, configure tag, show all, and adjust session timeout at the bottom. Once you click on that, you just need to validate the session timeout is at least 30 minutes. Right now it is 30 minutes. I will mark this as pass and we'll check this one. By default, GA4 properties session timeout will be 30 minutes only. And yeah, we also recommend keeping the engaged session time to 10 seconds. So right now it is already 10 seconds here for engaged session. Engaged session is a new feature that have been introduced in GA4. If a user is making any engagement on the website, those sessions will be considered as an engaged session. Engagement also has a definition of performing at least one conversion event or performing at least 2 events or page views in a session, marks that session as an engaged session. So yeah, we have fixed 30 minutes. This was already good. So we have marked this as pass. Now the next thing here is creating custom dimensions. So I will go back to our universal analytics property. And here you need to scroll down on the property settings, and there will be custom definition and custom dimensions. Here you can see there are 2 custom dimensions that are already there. You just need to, if you are able, if your property has any custom dimensions, make sure to recreate them in GA4 as it is. So this one is URL clicked and it is a hit scope. This one, subscription customer, is a user scope. I will just quickly demonstrate one of these. So I'll just copy the name. I'll go to GA4 settings and custom definitions and create custom dimensions. I'll give a name of that custom dimension. I will select scope, a user scope, just like this, user scope and name of the event. Now, here what we need to take care of is the user property. So here you need to add the value that you are sending via Google Tag Manager. So in Google Tag Manager, whenever you configure a custom dimension, there will be a key and value. Value will be the value that will be sending. Key will be the name of the user property. That will come under event properties. Custom dimension. Event properties, my bad, or user properties. So whatever values as you are adding in as key there, you need to make sure you are adding the same value here under user property name. So assuming that I am sending in I'm sending in the key as subscription customer, true or false is the value. I will just keep it this and save. This is for the existing custom dimensions that you need to migrate. With Elevar setup, we recommend creating these custom dimensions. First one is customer ID. I will quickly create customer ID. I will add that here. I will remove the space just for better readability. And I will make this a user scope. We'll have to add customer ID here again. And make sure to make this a user scope because customer ID will stay as it is throughout user's journey. That's why we are marking that as a user scope. Next is category, action, label, and type. These 4 will be useful when you create a custom report for your custom events tracking in GA4, which Katie will cover in a bit. But right now, we'll just quickly create this custom dimension. First one is category. I'll add category, keep this event scope, and save. Action, 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 event, save. Label, 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 save. And last one is type. This will be used to identify the type of event in reporting, and I will click save. Now we have created all the custom dimensions in our GA4 property. We're also done with this. Next one is Google Signals. Google Signal is used to collect additional data about your customers. So to check whether it helps your marketing and user identification for your Google ads, and also to improve your ad campaigns. So to check whether the Google Signals was enabled in your existing Universal Analytics property. You just need to come here under the property setting, data collection, and see whether this is enabled or not. If you see a button here called Get Started on top, then it is not enabled for you. And if you want that enabled, you can enable that, but please make sure to follow the GDPR guidelines, privacy rules, because this will collect customers' privacy, user identification level data. So do consult with your internal privacy or legal team before getting this enabled. And if it is already enabled and you are okay with collecting data, then we will also do the same configuration for GA4 as well. So here under the data settings, data collection, the same Get Started CTA is also here, which helps us enable the Google Signal data collection. I will click on this, Get Started. It will ask me to activate. Do go through all these details. If you are not aware what Google Signal does, it also helps identifying user cross-device, so which is a great feature. So yeah, if you're okay with that, click Continue, read this data sharing policy, and click on Activate. So now we have also enabled Google Signal data collection. That is enabled. I will mark this as fixed and done. Next one is granular location and device data collection enabled, and regional customization as needed. So as I mentioned, this setting also collects personally identifiable info, not personally identifiable, but to some extent, this setting can identify users if there are very few users on the store. And if you fall under the GDPR guidelines, if your store has to follow the GDPR guidelines, then we recommend disabling certain region from your data collection, but do consult your legal team for further information on this. But yeah, let's say if you want to disable data collection from some countries, so these are the two settings here. First one is overall Google Signal data collection. The first one is location data collection, and second one is location and device data collection. So you need to click on gear icon here, and you can disable any specific country from where you want to, you do not want to collect data from your customers or visitors. So let's say if I don't want to collect data from Brazil, visitors coming from Brazil, I'll disable that and click apply. It will show me 305 of 306 region are collecting data. Similarly, you will have to do the setup here if you want to exclude those visitors data from being collected, disabled, and applied. I will mark this as fixed and fixed. Done. If you are an agency working for a customer, I would recommend checking in with your client before making these changes. And yeah, that's about data collection, Google Signal data collection. Next one is data retention. So GA also has a feature called data retention. It is it comes under admin and property setting, data retention, where by default, Google GA4 have defined to retain the data for 2 months only. So if a user visits the store and not visit the store for next 2 months, the data will be deleted. We recommend keeping that to 14 months, the maximum. So, and we also recommend keeping this enabled, reset user data on new activity. So if user comes again on the store on month 3, their timer will be again reset to 14 months and save. So we recommend changing this from 2 months to 14 months, fixed. And channel grouping. Next one is channel grouping. This is big. Please note, channel grouping is a feature that GA4 have recently introduced. It falls under admin, and then property settings, data settings, and channel groups. If you're not able to see channel groups here, do not panic. It is slowly rolling out to all the GA4 properties. So if you're not able to see this here today, it will be visible to your inside your property very soon. Channel grouping. So I'll quickly go to my Universal Analytics, the old Google Analytics property, and I will select my reporting view. Please make sure to select a reporting view or filtered view, whichever view you are using to report on all the data. Go to channel settings and channel grouping. Here, if you're able to see multiple channels defined here, channel grouping defined here, then select the channel grouping which you want to migrate to GA4. If you're only able to see the default channel grouping, then look out for the last modified date. Sorry, if your channel grouping setting has a last modified date visible here, it means that your default channel grouping is modified, and you need to make sure those changes get reflected in your GA4 property as well. So here I can see the channel grouping was modified. I will click on this, and I will look out for the user-defined changes here. So I can see this user-defined change in the affiliate and email. So I will click on this, and we'll see what rule we have configured for email. So here you can see I have configured the rule source contains Klaviyo to fall under the email channel. So now in the GA4 channel grouping, I will also have to perform the same changes. I will click on this, open channel details. If you don't want to make changes into your default GA4 default channel grouping, you can also create a new channel group. Right now, I'm making changes into the default channel group also, channel group only, but we recommend creating a new channel group just to be on the safer side. I will click on this channel group. I will scroll down and find email. I will click on email. I will give it a name. Okay, apologies. We cannot make modification inside default channel grouping. So if you want to customize your channel grouping, you'll have to create a new channel group in GA4. So I'll quickly create a custom channel group. I'll create a new channel group, give it a name custom channel group. I'll scroll down on email. I will select source. I will check source contains Klaviyo. There's the condition. I will also add the same condition here. Source contains Klaviyo. Save. Please note that you do not require to do the same changes that I'm making here. You need to look at your channel grouping settings and do all the similar changes in your GA4 new custom channel group. Click on save, and that changes will be saved here. Next one, I can see another system and user define is there in affiliate. So I will quickly open affiliate, and we'll see that by default it is system defined, and or condition medium exactly matches YT affiliates. This is one of the most trickiest setting in GA4. So if you get confused, make sure to get some help from anyone, because if you mess this one up, you will end up reporting on incorrect data on your channel grouping level. So make sure to get help from someone if you are not comfortable with making these changes. So I will quickly go on to the affiliate, select medium contains YT affiliate, and save. So I have saved these changes. I will quickly click on save group, and now a custom channel group is created, and it will be visible under the acquisition reports, under the default session, under the acquisition reports when you go to the GA4 reporting part. So we have also fixed the reporting here. So I'll mark this, custom channel grouping here. So I'll mark that as fixed. We have already done the internal traffic exclusion. Next one is reporting identity set to blended. So in GA4, there is an option to select your reporting identity in the property settings. Reporting identity is a way you tell GA4 on which parameters to generate your user level reporting. So here you can see by default, right now it is selected as blended, which will use user ID, Google Signals, device ID, and model data to generate all of your reporting. We recommend to, and Google also recommend keeping it to blended. If you don't want to track Google Signals data, you can select it to report on device based. Please note that there will be difference in all of your reporting based on what identity you select. If you want to learn more about reporting identity, you can click here and learn more, and you can read more about it. But right now, we'll keep it to reporting identity blended. I'll mark this as pass. Done. The next few are, yes, Katie.
Can I pause you for 1 second? I have a couple questions on back to the channel groupings. Can you show someone how to create like a role for like source equals Facebook and medium equals something? I know that one's kind of tricky because in Universal Analytics, you're used to that dimension of source medium that you can just select, but in GA4, you have to do lots of additional rules.
Yes, that's a tricky one. That's why I mentioned channel grouping is one of the most difficult setting here. So let's say if you want to configure something in the paid search, I click here, I will select source, matches exactly Facebook, apply. And now the thing here is that there is no end condition to apply the logic for medium. So there is only or condition here. So if I configure the medium here, it will look for either or. It will not look for both of them at the same time. There's also an option at the bottom here, add condition group, but but this will entirely apply condition entirely on the group level and not the individual item level. Let's say I have another condition here, which is XYZ. Now, if I select medium here as CPC, this will be incorrect because it will look forward to compare medium equals to CPC with source Facebook or let's say source anything else. So this is incorrect. So if you want to configure a source and medium combination condition for custom channel grouping, what you need to do here is that, let's say you want to configure source as Facebook for paid search. So you just need to create one single condition inside source equals to Facebook. I will save the channel. I will create a new channel. I will give it a name, same name, paid search. I will configure medium as CPC. Click apply and save. Now, in order to fall that specific user having Facebook as source and CPC as medium to fall in a paid search, now GA4 will look for both of this condition at the same time because we have two different channel created here with the same name. So paid search and paid search, one setting is inside this one, another inside this one as bottom in the bottom. So now it will look for both combinations, source and medium. And by this way, you can apply a source medium condition. But yeah, this is a tricky one. So make sure to take some help from anyone. Keith, do you want to add anything?
The channel name needs to be the same. So channel name would be paid social or paid search, and then two different unique channel names, correct?
Yes, the same channel name so that it doesn't show up twice in your channel reporting, and the condition also gets applied at the same time.
Yeah, very tricky one.
Yeah, it took me a while to get through this. Katie, do you have any comments on this?
I think that's it for channels. We did have a couple of questions on the back in custom dimensions. So if we can walk through that a little bit more slowly, like how to pick scope and set up extra custom dimensions.
Sure. All right. Sometimes it will take a few seconds to get this CTA visible, create custom dimension. So how to create a custom dimension in GA4, go to your admin section in GA4. under the property, there is a custom definition option available here. Clicking on custom definition, it will take a few seconds to populate this button here, create custom dimension. Click on that. And there are 4 fields here where you need to put in details. Let's say you want to create a custom dimension for visit count, how many times a user is coming on your website. You have some logic in GTM to count that, and you want to send that data to Google and GA4. So you just need to give it a name, or whatever name you want to see in the reporting. So this will be the name visible in the reporting. So I've given this the name visit count. Here, there is a scope option here. This is also an in-depth 30-minute explainer on what scope to select, but I'll quickly summarize this. Event scope you need to select whenever you are sending a data which is related with a single event. In this scenario, I am sending data which is related to a user. So I'm sending a count of how many times, what is the count of this visit, whether this is the first, second, fourth, fifth visit of this user. So that will be recorded on a user level and not an event level. So I'll select a user, then there is an item. So these are the 3 scopes. Most of the time, if you select event level, that will work if you are sending data, any additional data with an event. Let's say if you are tracking navigation clicks and you are sending, you want to send additional value like navigation item name as a custom dimension. So I will select nav level 3 or level 2 navigation item name, anything. And since it will be an event which will happen, I will click on navigation. That will be an event. So I will, this value will also go on an event level. I will select event. Description is optional. You can skip this. And here you need to configure the value you want to pass in the key from your Google Tag Manager. I will quickly also open Tag Manager as well to demonstrate. But let's say I am passing nav item name here. So this is the value that I'm passing with underscore. I will show you quickly in Google Tag Manager how and where to configure or where to see this value. So in your Google Tag Manager, you need to go to your GA4 tag, GA4 base tag. Under your GA4 base tag, or if you are sending value with a custom event only, let's say if you are sending this with add to cart or checkout, then you need to go to that tag and configure. If you are sending that data on a user level, you need to, or you want to track the data along with all the events that user performs on the store, then you need to configure that here. Right now, I will configure a user property here. I will name that right now I'm doing the navigation item click. So what I will do, assuming that this is a tag for navigation item click tracking, what I will do under the event parameter, I will add nav item name. I will pass the name of nav item clicked. This will be a dynamic value that you will have to configure and click on save. So whatever values go and whatever value goes under the parameter name, it should be going, the same value should be going here under the event parameter value. And then only you will be able to see the same data in your GA4 reporting with this dimension in your reporting. So this will be the dimension name, and this will be just storing the value. This is just to create a bridge between GA4 and GTM on what value you are sending. It is just an identifier, and then click save. That's all about custom dimensions. Right. Katie, do you have any other questions from our viewers?
Nope, you can keep going.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'll make it quick so that you can also cover the reporting part very soon. So, all right, we are on the Google Ads linking here. So these 4 are related to linking different products. GA4 has a best feature where it provides a tons of product where you can link those products to your GA4 property and link your GA4 property to those products. So there can be a two-way data transmission for some of the products, but there can be a one-way data transmission from, let's say, Google Ads to, Search Console to GA4. So GA4 will not send data to Search Console. So we recommend linking all these products here, whatever you are using. If you are using Google Ads, we strongly recommend linking your Google Ads here. You just need to click link. You need to select your account. It will ask you to log in into your Google Ads, and you can just perform the click there, and your Google Ads will be linked. Right now, it is not linked. I am not linking it here over the call, but I will mark this as needs updating because I'm not linking it right now. Next one is BigQuery. The biggest feature of GA4 is that GA4 allows you to track data, collect data in BigQuery for free. So we strongly recommend linking your GA4 property with BigQuery. And you can see our BigQuery instance is already linked here. If yours is not linked, you can click on link, follow the instruction, and get your BigQuery linked here. If your GA4 property is older, let's say, if you are an existing Elevar customer, we have already been tracking data in GA4 for our customers for last 1 year, since by the time the name of the GA4 property was App Plus Web, we started collecting the data for our customers in those in GA4 properties. So yeah, if your property is old and if you link your BigQuery now, BigQuery will give you out of the box last 6 months data in your BigQuery instance. So it is good for advanced reporting, custom reporting, and very helpful if you have a data team in-house who report on granular level. So if you are using BigQuery, definitely link this one. I will mark this as pass because mine is already linked. Okay, another thing to check here with BigQuery link is that you need to make sure your total event count is less than 1 million a day, because that is the limit for GA4 BigQuery linking. So if your GA4 event collection goes beyond 1 million hits a day, 1 million events a day, then GA4 will start showing you email errors, sending you email errors that your GA4 linking is going over capacity. How to check this? Go to engagement events and select an individual day to check how many events you are collecting on an average day. Right now here we are collecting only 18 events because this is just a testing property. We need to click on reports, engagement, events, and then look at the event count per day. So check an average event count for at least 5 to 6 days. If it is not going above 1 million events per day, then you are good. If it is going beyond 1 million events a day, then we recommend the best possible recommendation is moving to GA4 360 paid version, where there is no limit. You can send millions of hits events data to GA4. If you don't want to switch to 360 while doing the GA4 BigQuery integration, it will ask you to exclude certain events data from this linking. So when you do the linking, it will ask you to exclude certain events. So you need to manually identify which one are less important ones that you want to skip and recording higher values of events in your property. So you can skip them. And yeah, that's what we need to check here. Right now, our setup is good. So we'll mark that as pass. If you can also check your event count if you have larger user visitor volume on your store or website. All right, Merchant Center link. It is pretty much simple, similar to both of them. Merchant Center, click on this, click, link, and then click. Your Merchant Center will be connected. And next one is Search Console. So Search Console is, we strongly recommend linking Search Console because Search Console provides additional keyword level and your website position level data in GA4. So once you link your Search Console, there will be an entire set of reports available in your reporting. I will also show you how you can look at that. So once you are done with the Search Console linking, you need to come to reports, and you need to click on library here at the bottom. Once you link your GA4 with Search Console, there will be a Search Console reports available, a set of report available here. You just need to click on them and click on publish, and all those bunch of reports will be available here in your navigation menu under Search Console reports. So whenever you do the linking of Search Console GA4, click on library, come to this collection here. There will be a collection called Search Console. Click on 3 dots, click publish. Once you do that, the Search Console report will be available here. By the way, this is a setting inside the library. There is a setting to modify all the navigation menu items that you see here. So if you see any someone else's navigation menu different than yours, then you can also do that by changing this reporting sequence inside this lifecycle or user level reporting. So GA4 also allows you to customize your navigation menu as per your reporting preferences. All right, we are not doing search merchant center linking. I will mark that as failed. This needs to be updating. We have not linked our Search Console. We will do that, and we are done with the property settings. So far so good. Feel free to drop your question in the Q&A section or chat section. Now we'll quickly go through certain reporting checks, but before that, I'll take a quick water break. All right, I will quickly cover a few of this and will ask Katie to cover the rest. So first one is basic. We need to make sure page view tracking is accurate on our store. So this is just a basic sanity check. I will quickly open our store, and here we just need to make sure there is only one event going for all the pages, and we are not tracking any duplicate event for page view. So what you need to do, you need to come on your store, right click, click inspect. A developer panel like this will open. Click on network and search for collect. Once you search for collect, you'll be able to see some request here at the bottom. Just click on this and look out for V2. This is V1, which means the older Google Analytics property. I will just quickly reload to check what data we are sending, what page view data we are, how many page views we are sending to our GA4 property. So I will look out for collect question mark V2. So I will also do that, collect question mark V equals to 2. It will only show me the GA4 events. Right now, I can see there are 4 items going from here, 4 hits going from here. This one is page view. We need to click on each item. We need to click on payload and scroll down and check the EN. It has to be page view. Okay, this is page view. Let's see the second one. Second one is going to a different ID, and this is also a page view. But since this is going to a different property ID, it is fine. It doesn't. It has to be a different property ID. Okay, one property needs to collect only one page view. That's the basic rule. Here, there are 2 different properties collecting their separate page views. We are good. This is so yeah, this is what you need to check. We have multiple properties collecting data here for our testing, but what you need to check is come to network, type down collect question mark V equals to 2, and check for events here with the name with the payload EN equals to page view, and make sure there is only one page view per page and you are not recording any duplicate page views. So I'll mark that as pass. We are not tracking duplicate page view, and that's it for this step. Next one is accurate bounce rate. We need to check bounce rate for our GA4 property. So by default, GA4 does not have a bounce rate metric available in the reporting. But here is a bonus nugget. So if you go to any of your, let's go to the pages and screen report. I'll make this a little bigger. Out of the box, there is no bounce rate metric available. But what you can do, you can click on the pencil icon here called Customize Report. You can click on Matrix, and you just need to add a bounce rate metric here. And now bounce rate is available. Move that up a little bit, click on Apply, and save the report. Click Save to change to current report, and save. And now bounce rate, it is loading. Bounce rate will be available in your this report where you have configured it. Right now, I can see bounce rate here in my report, and you need to validate the bounce rate against your universal analytics bounce rate. Please note that both the bounce rate can have a difference, will have a difference, because both are two different platforms. It identifies the data in a bit different way. But yeah, on an average, if your bounce rate is between 30, 40 to 70, 80%, it is usual. And yeah, that's all about bounce rate. You need to validate bounce rate is coming in accurately for your store or not for all the major pages. If you see bounce rate 100 or bounce rate 0 or 10 or 5 for certain pages, that means that there has to be some issue, or you need to look into the setup for those pages. All right, custom campaign tagging used. So this is related to, now we are in the report section. All the things we will do is in the reporting part. Here, we are checking whether the campaign tagging is appropriate, campaigns are appropriately tagged or not. I'll quickly go to acquisition and traffic acquisition. Under traffic acquisition, I will check for source medium, and I can see you need to just check whether you are receiving source medium data here or not, and whether most of your traffic is coming from direct none. Then make sure your marketing team is tagging all of your ad campaign URLs with proper source medium and proper session campaign. So you also need to look at the campaign value, whether the campaign value is coming in accurately or not. If it is not coming, make sure your marketing team is sending source, medium, and campaign detail with all of your attaching those three values with all of your marketing landing pages, ad landing pages. So this needs updating. Next one is revenue total matching Shopify or not. So here we need to validate whether our revenue is matching Shopify revenue or not. For that, I will quickly come to monetization and overview. I'll come to e-commerce purchases. Overview will not show you the exact numbers, it will show you round off numbers. So here I can see 58.50 as the revenue for the state range. And we also need to validate the same with your Shopify stores revenue. So you can go to analytics, reports, and sales over time, or sales by channel, or total sales as well. You can select any of those. You need to select the date range, which is the one which you are looking at in your GA4. And if you have the same date range, you can compare the gross sales plus returns. Make sure to also add the returns in the gross sales, and check whether it is matching your Shopify revenue, your GA4 revenue or not. If it is matching, it is good. If it is not matching, you need to make sure what channels are being reported in your GA4. So if you go to your channels, sales by channels report, it is not available in our testing store. If you are Shopify Plus, it will be available for you, sales by channel. So at the time of configuration, we ask you which channel you want to exclude. If you have excluded certain channels from recording data in your GA4 property, those channels data will not be available here in GA4. So just make sure to calculate the numbers based on what channels are sending data to GA4. And similarly, just like we looked at the revenue data, we also need to look at, I'll mark this as pass. We also need to look at the duplicate transaction and transaction total. So to check whether your Shopify store, your GA4 is recording any duplicate transaction or not, you will have to create a custom report in Explore section. So click on Explore. This is also one of the best feature of GA4, Explore reporting. You need to click on Free Form. Here you'll be able to see multiple dimension and metric. Just remove all of them from tab settings. Now you need to click on Dimension Plus. search for transaction ID, select transaction ID and click import. Transaction ID is now available in dimension. Now under the metric, click on plus, search for transactions. Transaction is already checked, import, transaction is available here. Now, if you are not much familiar with the Explore report and where to place which value, there is a quick hack. Just double click on the dimensions. It will automatically get in place wherever it needs to be. So I just double click on transaction ID. It will be placed under the rows. I will quickly double click on transaction. It will get placed into the values here. And now you can see the transaction level report in your GA4 Explore section. So here we can see total of all the transactions, and from left top variable, you can select your date range. So make sure you are comparing the same date range which you are looking at in your Shopify store, or if you are comparing with your Universal Analytics property, make sure the date range is same in your Universal Analytics property and GA4 property before comparing the revenue and transactions data. Assuming we have selected the same date range, I will validate the total number of transactions. And in order to validate whether it is recording any duplicate transaction or not, I will sort this transaction column by a descending order. So if there are any other value than 2, any other value than 1, let's say 2, 3, 4, if a transaction ID if a transaction is being recorded multiple times, there will be 2, 3, 4. Any other value than 1 will be available here, which shows that you are recording duplicate transactions in your GA4, and that needs to be corrected. So reach out to Elevar if you are a Shopify store. Otherwise, make sure to look at your settings to not send duplicate transaction data to GA4. Again, come to Explore. Select free form exploration report, click on dimensions, select transaction ID, click on metric, select transaction, double click on transaction to get that in place, double click on transaction to get that in place in values, and report will be ready. You need to look at the total here on top, compare this with Shopify orders and your Universal Analytics, the old Google Analytics orders. For this date range will be here on top left. In order to check the duplicate transaction, click on this transaction item, and it will do the descending thing. Select descending, so it will show the highest value on top. If you are able to see any other value than 1, which means your transactions are duplicated that much time, the number that you are able to see here, 2, 3, 4, reach out to Elevar. If you're a Shopify store, we can help you out. If you are or else validate your setup for transaction tracking. All right, this is for transaction tracking and validating the total of transaction. I will mark that as pass, assuming our setup is accurate and matching. Next one is product data matching throughout the funnel. So now we need to go to product data for product data funnel in order to validate whether it is recording accurate data across the funnel or not. I'll quickly go to monetize, e-commerce, and here we need to make sure that the product name are coming in accurately. If you have a different languages to store in different languages, make sure those languages do not appear here. Sometimes you've also seen this apostrophe S coming in as some weird characters. Make sure it is not there, and your product name are coming in accurately here. And another thing that you need to validate is all the values against this product. If you are able to see whether you are able to see item view, item add to cart, or item purchase here or not. If you are headless, there can be an issue. There can be if you are a headless Shopify store. We have noticed this issue with headless, where item view and add to cart is coming in as expected, but purchase is not. And then down the report, purchase is coming in without add to cart and item view against some other product name. So in that case, for headless stores, we need to make sure your product name on headless part of the store and product name on Shopify backend matches. and then only this report will populate with all the steps. This is also sort of funnel for products where you can see how many users viewed the item and click on add to cart for those products and ended up purchasing. So we just need to validate whether all the funnel steps are populating and all the product names are coming in without any error. All right, once this is done, you need to check product list tracking. So product list is the collection pages data. So let's say if I'm on my store, I click on shirts. So shirts is a collection, and if I click on any of the product from here and end up purchasing this, my list value should be collection/shirts because I have purchased from this listing of products. So the list value should be this, and it should be this should be reflected in your GA4. By the way, this is not our official merchandise store. So if you purchase anything from this, do not expect to get that delivered at your doorstep. This is just for our testing. So coming back to GA4, how to look at the product list tracking. All right, you need to come to monetization overview. It is hidden under the overview section, the list tracking. So scroll down on monetization overview, and there will be a tab here called item purchased by item list name. So all of your list data will be available here. You need to click on view item list, and your report will be available with your list name here. For an example, for this one, collections/shirt will be the list name here. And against that, all the values will be visible here. How many users have viewed the collection page, how many of them clicked on it, how many have added to cart and at the end purchased. Right now, if you are not able to see item purchased against your list values, we are working on that. It is because we need to keep the list value persistent for GA4 server-side tracking. So we already have that on our roadmap to pass the list value with the purchase here, and that will be live soon. So yeah, keep an eye out for our email. And this is the report for list level on which collection page is working well for you, how many users are viewing that collection page and ends up purchasing the products. You can see that report from here. Next one is coupon code. If you are giving out any discount codes, coupon codes, that is also a hidden report for that. So you need to click on monetization overview and scroll down. And there is a report called, there is a small tab called purchase revenue by order coupons. If you click on view order coupons in our below Universal Analytics, that was coupon code report was easily available here under marketing and order coupon code. But in GA4, they had to make this difficult. So you need to go inside monetization overview, find out that small tab for purchases by order coupon code, view order coupons. And here you'll be able to see all the orders placed using that coupon code. If you're able to see not set here, along with the rest of the other coupon codes, do not panic. For the orders placed without any coupon code, it will show not set here against those orders. But if you are able to see your coupon codes visible here and purchases against that, then your setup is working as expected for coupon code tracking. All right, this is for coupon codes. I will mark these two as pass. And next one is UA goals are sent as event. All right, so if you have played around with GA4, you might know that GA4 is treating the goals in Universal Analytics as an event now, as a conversion now, and they have to be sent as an event. So let me walk you through what that means. So under my Universal Analytics, Google Analytics, I will select the reporting view. I will click on goals and we'll see what all goals we are tracking. And now we need to go into our GA4 property, and we need to make sure that all of the relevant events are considered as a conversion or goal in GA4. So how we configure goal in GA4 is that you need to come to your admin section, and you need to click on conversions here. And whatever event you want to consider as a conversion, they will be visible here. So right now, by default, purchase will be considered as a conversion, but like here, you can see begin checkout and add to cart was also added as a goal here. You can also create, if you are tracking those events, make sure to add them. And if you want to consider them as a conversion, you can add them by clicking on new conversion event and adding that name, add to cart, and click on save, and it will be added here as a conversion. And in all the reports, it will be visible as a conversion. But we do not recommend adding any additional events here as a conversion and only keeping purchase as a conversion, because for rest of all the events, you can look at the event level data, and there is no need of as such to consider any other events as a conversion. Even if you do that for certain use cases, yes, there is a need. But if you do that, when you look at the hit level source medium data or attribution data, which Katie will walk you through in a bit, at that time, we can only select conversions and not transaction against the hit level source medium or attribution data. It might be difficult for you to visualize, but yeah, there will be an issue if you consider multiple. That may or may not be an issue if you configure multiple events as conversion, but we recommend keeping only purchase as a conversion unless it is mandatory and necessary for you to do that. So yeah, you can configure rest of the events which are being tracked as a conversion from admin and conversions by adding those event name there. So, all right, we have almost done a huge chunk here and 10 items from the reporting details. I will now hand over this screen and rest of the settings to Katie to walk you through. Please note that if you let me know in the chat if you have found this session useful so far. I would love to see your response here. If you have found this useful, do type useful in the chat, and we'll get to know whether you are finding it informational or not. We'll look forward to chat. All right. Thank you so much. I can see useful here. All right. So if you found this useful, make sure to stay here till the end, because whatever Katie is going to cover is going to be super useful, and it is very useful when it comes to reporting and looking at your data. So handing this over to Katie, I will stop my screen from sharing. We'll give you the admin access, Katie, just a second. Yes, you can share your screen now. You're on mute.
All right, so just switching up the voice on you. I know this is quite the marathon walkthrough. So next up, we're looking for less than 10% of your online store orders to have a not set session source medium. So to find that, you're going to hop into reports of GA4 and go to acquisition, traffic acquisition. And this will bring up the default channel group. And we can actually switch this over to source medium here. And this will show you the session source medium. So for this one, obviously not a whole lot of data in this property, but you might see some not set source medium. So you'll want to scroll over to conversions, make sure that you do only have purchases set tier, otherwise select the purchase event. And then we're going to compare that to your online store orders. Note that I am saying online store orders. If you are an Elevar customer and using our server-side integration, then you do have the option to send all of your Shopify orders to GA4, including offline orders. Maybe you're sending recurring orders, maybe you're sending POS orders, draft orders, things like that. Those will always come through with a session source medium of not set. We're hoping to eventually finagle a way to override that source medium. Google makes it very difficult, and they don't let you send the session start event via the measurement protocol. So those will always show up as not set, but looking for online store orders here. So if you hop over to your Shopify store, if you are on Shopify, you can go to Analytics, Reports, and pull up the Sales by Channel report. And then this will show you all of your sales by the channel name. So here, looking for kind of online store orders, if you have a third-party checkout that is also goes through your website, you might see a channel there that you would also want to include. But here, wanting to exclude anything recurring orders, GRIN orders, POS, anything where a user would not be interacting with the website. So then you can just do a little calculation to see if your not set orders are a little too high of a percentage. Especially if you're using our server-side integration, we do expect you to have some purchases from online attributed to not set. This is because sometimes the session of the user will not get tracked. So maybe they're using an ad blocker, the GA4 browser code is blocked, so most of their interactions are not tracked. We're still able to send the purchase to GA4 though, but it doesn't get tied to that session since it didn't exist. And so you will still have a little bit of not set data there. If you have a large chunk of orders attributed to not set, then that does indicate a tracking issue. So it might be, if you have a user ID being passed in your GA4 tag, it might be changing somewhere along the way. Page view tracking or your browser tag might not be loading correctly on all the pages. So that's where you would want to dig in a bit to see what kind of tracking issue there might be. So here we're good. So I'll set this to pass. So I did go on a bit about those offline orders being set to not set. You can get a source medium for them though. So we like to set up an extra report for you to look at that event scope source medium. So this traffic acquisition shows you the session source medium. The user acquisition report shows you the user source medium, so that first touch, but there's no event scoped report for you yet. So we're gonna pop into the library. It's all the way down here. So it's a little bit hidden, but this is a golden gem right here that if you spend much time in GA4, you will probably want to spend a little bit of time here because the out-of-the-box reports are fairly limited, but here you can create new reports, save them in your nav so they're easy to access later. So we're gonna create a new report. We want a detail report. Sometimes this library takes forever to load, so hopefully it won't take too long. But here we're going to start with traffic acquisition. And then over here is where we can edit the report. So this starts us with the out-of-the-box traffic acquisition report where we can then edit it. So we're going to start with metrics because Google's finicky, and if you have a metric in the report that isn't combinable with a dimension, it won't let you add it. So here we want to keep sessions and users. And we're going to close out of a lot of these and keep the conversions and total revenue. Like Vishal mentioned earlier, with the event scoped source medium, you can't get purchase event data. You have to look at conversions. It's a little annoying, but so we have to stick to conversions here. So then you can push apply. And then we're going to edit our dimensions and just click this 3-dot thing on the right and click remove. We're going to remove all of these session metrics. And then here we can add our source medium. So this is going to be event scoped. And then we can also add campaign. So in GA4, there are 3 source mediums. Like I mentioned, the one without the prefix is event scoped, and then you also have the session scoped and the user scoped. So then here we'll just push apply, and then we can save the report. So we'll call it source medium event scoped, and you can push save. All right, then if we go back to our library, we now have this lovely report here. So now we're going to save it in nav. So you'll see a lot of these reports are under life cycle. We have these acquisition reports right here, so probably makes sense to add this one into this little section here. So you can go in to edit the life cycle collection, which matches this over here. And you'll see any new reports that you create over here on the right. So then we can just drag it over to where we want it to show up and save it. So you can save it as a new collection. I'm going to save it to the current one. Since the current one's already in my nav, then we don't have to do additional changes. So then if we go back and everything loads, then we now have our new report here ready for any user that comes into the GA4 property. So we have this fixed now. So I was mentioning the offline orders. We are able to override the source medium for the offline orders for the event scope. So this report will probably more closely align to your universal analytics data if you're using our server-side integration. So you can pop in here and compare the two if you'd like. To note the attribution method that you have set in your GA4 report here, under attribution settings, this is applied to that event scope source medium. So you can change it up here to change up how that event scope source medium, how that attribution model is. So you will see some weird stuff there if you keep data driven, where you might get a partial purchase attributed to a source medium. So you can see some decimal purchases. So don't be alarmed there. You can always come in here, change the attribution model, and look at the data again. All right, I'm not going to go through comparing to UA since we have about 3 purchases, but you can take a look at that as needed. All right. And everything is suddenly not loading for me. Cool. All right. Maybe let's, oh, here we go. Lovely. Okay. So user ID set and web tags. If you're an older Elevar client and are using some of our old pre-built tags, you might not have user ID set in them. In our, I think it was September of last year, we added in a user ID. So we just like to, whenever we're doing a refresh of GA4 for folks, we want to make sure that we do have the user ID set. So if you are using Elevar tags, you can pop into Google Tag Manager and look at the GA4 base tag configuration. And here you do want to have a user ID property. We set it to a user ID available in our data layer. But if you are not Shopify or want to set your own user ID, you can set that to whatever here. But this does help Google match up users to sessions. So if someone comes in and has an expired Google cookie, or their cookies were deleted or something like that, but the user ID is the same, then Google will match up that new session to their previous sessions that had that same user ID. So it can really help out those user acquisition reports, keeping that first user source medium very accurate for you. So we do have that, so we will pass that. Subdomain landing pages. So for this is specific to if you are using Elevar server-side integration. Our data layer listener collects a lot of data on the site to support our server-side integrations, and for that we use local storage, which is subdomain specific. So the data will not cross a subdomain. So if you are using maybe a non-Shopify subdomain, to do some landing page testing or anything like that, then you will need to use our non-Shopify attribution tracker. It's available in the app. You'll just need to make sure it's installed on that subdomain to pass over any attribution information to your Shopify store domain. So probably an edge case for most of you, but we always like to make sure we're covering all the bases. So for the website, we're doing nothing like that, so we don't need to worry about that. product page and any variant changes retaining query parameters. So this one is an issue for a good many Shopify stores. So we always like to be proactive to check it out. Not as much of an issue for GA4, but it really screws up your universal analytics data. So for example, we'll go to our demo store here. You'll want to navigate to a product page. So to test this, we're just going to go up to the URL and add any query parameter. So we're just going to add question mark. I'll use Gclid. That's the query parameter. Google ads. We'll just set it to test. So what we're looking for here is we want this Gclid to still be present. If it goes away, your attribution in GA is going to be messed up. So at this stage, so that's good. You also want to check for whenever you change a variant on the page. So if I click on the white t-shirt, you'll notice that the URL updates and there's now a variant query parameter and my Gclid is gone. That is bad. So say someone comes from google.com, they click on an ad, they visit the website. The Google tracking picks up that you came from google.com, but you also have that Gclid in your URL. And that Gclid trumps the refer, that google.com refer. So Google knows you came from the Google ad. But since that Gclid is now gone, I haven't navigated to a new page. My refer is still google.com. So if I click add to cart, then I suddenly get an add to cart event where the refer is there, but the Gclid is not. So in Universal Analytics, your attribution is going to change from Google CPC to Google Organic, and a new session will be created. So obviously not what you want. So in this situation, you would need to update the logic for updating this URL to preserve the query parameter so that you keep the variant parameter, but also that Gclid. You'll also want to test, I know a lot of clients use this variant specific URL in their feeds. So you also want to test adding a Gclid to this URL. Since there's already a question mark in the URL, and we'll add an ampersand. You never want 2 question marks in the URL, and then we'll tack on the Gclid. So that piece looks fine. So in this scenario, we would need to update the JS logic and the theme that whenever you switch the variant, that needs to preserve the Gclid. Like I said, not as big of a deal for GA4 because GA4 does not start a new session when attribution changes. So the session source medium would stay the same. But if you're starting to look at that event scope source medium for add to cart events or later on purchases, that kind of thing, then this could mess that up. So here we need to update that. We won't go into the fix. That would be something you send to your developers. Or if you're an Elevar client, reach out to us and we have a little snippet we can give you. So next up, behavior event tracking. We like to make sure that all of our clients have behavior events set up on the site. So tracking nav clicks or what banners were clicked, or if someone clicked on, you may also like features, that kind of thing, to give you extra data to work with for site optimization if you're doing A/B testing. So we always go through and tag the sites. We do have a Chrome extension that you can use to kind of just point and click and upload tags to GTM for you to make it quicker. So then you would get some extra event data. So in GA4, you're not limited to the typical event category action label that you are in Universal Analytics. The world is your oyster. You can name it however you want, so whatever kind of parameters you want. We have just been still using that category action label that Michelle set up custom dimensions for, just because that is what most people are used to seeing. They're familiar with their events and how it works and how to analyze the data. So right now we're still using that category action label set up by default, but you can go get creative and set up things how you want to. So if we're assuming that standardized naming convention for category action label, then we typically will set up an extra report for you so that you can see it similar to what you're used to in Universal Analytics, instead of having to dig through this events report, set up a bunch of custom stuff to pull in all of your parameters and such. So we're going to go back to the library and create a new report. We still want that detail report. And this time we want events right here. And again, we're going to start with metrics. Okay, and here we do want event count, total users, event count per user. Unfortunately, we can't get revenue yet because GA4 does not support session scoped custom metrics. They say it's coming, so we're waiting for it. But then we're also going to add sessions in here. And you can order these how you like, just by dragging them around. So we're going to apply that. And then for dimensions, we're going to remove this. And then we're going to add the category action label dimensions that Michelle set up earlier. So you probably won't have any data yet, unless you're an Elevar client, and we've already set these up for you. In our events, we also set up a type parameter set to behavior for these behavior events, because GA4 is very persnickety and it will only let you select values that it's already collected and won't let you do like exclude not set or something like that. So eventually, once you start getting event data coming in here, you'll need to come back and then add a filter for type, and then you can select type of behavior. And so that way you won't see a bunch of not set data in here from your non-behavior events, and then you'll just see your behavior events right here. But you do have to come back to that later. So then in this report, you can always add in a secondary dimension of action or label. You can flip the primary dimension between all the dimensions that we've selected here to look at the data how you like. So then we can save this, add behavior events, and we'll save. We can go back to our library and add it to a collection. This time we want behavior events. I typically add it under events just because it makes sense in my head, but you can add it wherever you want. And we'll save it to the current collection. So yes, the library is a great place where you can create new reports, add them to collections, create new collections, lots of stuff available here for you to build out the reporting that you like to see. These library reports are a little bit limited, so if you're trying to do something in here and it doesn't seem like you can do it, it's a good chance you can't. Do check out the exploration reports. These are a little more flexible, allow you to do some more things, have some better filter functionality. I will show you one quick tip that seems to get a bunch of people. So if you just have like standard funnel here, but you want to filter it, maybe you want to filter it for, they landed on a specific page. You go in here and you would think you could just sort for whatever dimension you want, but it's not available. So you actually have to pop in here and add the dimension to the report. Once we import it in, then you're suddenly able to filter by it. So you don't have to actually add the dimension to the visible report here, but you have to import it in and then you can start filtering on it. But then you have a lot more flexibility here with you can do regex and does not contain and all kinds of things. So just a little 2 cents tidbit. So that finishes up the GA4 audit and we are way over. How are our questions coming along, Michelle?
We are all good, Katie. Me and Brad have taken care of all the open questions.
Perfect. Okay, so for those troopers who are still here or for those watching the recording, I am going to just go ahead and walk through the app script. It shouldn't take too long, but understand if y'all need to leave. This has been quite the marathon. But yes, for this app script, this assumes that you have some universal analytics behavior events and you want to see them in GA4. And maybe you don't want to spend hours, copying and pasting filters and copying over all your event labels and categories and such. So then this is for you. So we are going to make this available. Michelle, if you want to copy the link into the chat. Just instructions to walk through it. So to start, you'll just need to open up this Google Sheet. Move this over here, so we'll quickly walk through it. And then you're going to go to File, make a copy. We need to make a copy first, so that you are not editing the same sheet everyone else is. So then you'll have your own little copy of this. So even if you're not technical, you might be freaking out about using an app script. You have no idea what that is, but this is really easy to use. So you can just pop into extensions and then app scripts. And the script is already written for you here. You just need to add in a few customizations for your GTM container. So we're gonna go over to Google Tag Manager. So this does assume you have some universal analytics events and you have GA4 tags already going. So you are going to need at least a base config tag. If you're an Elevar customer, you can download these from your app and import them in. So to start, we need to create a new workspace. You can use the default workspace if you want, but I'm going to make a new one for our GA4 behavior events. Okay, so as soon as you make it, you're on this overview tab, pop up to your URL, and you want to copy everything from accounts over. Make sure you do not get this / after the container. So then we're gonna go back over to our app script. So this gives you a little example here. But this is gonna tell the script where you want your new GA4 tags. So we're gonna just put that there. Next, we need to put all of the tags you want migrated into one folder. So this is not intended to handle your enhanced e-commerce tags, your page view tags. This is specifically for behavior tags that have just your typical category action, a label. It will copy over any triggers, any consent settings, all of that fun stuff, your tag firing options. The script will do all of that, so no worries about that. So I want to move all of my GA event tags. So you can just search for them or you can manually go through and click the ones you want, but I'll just check this to select all of these. Then I'll go over to the right to this folder button. So we're gonna move all of these to one folder. So I'm gonna call these my UA behavior events. You can use whatever name you want, but I'm gonna use that one. So you do need to copy that folder name that you're using, and we need to drop that in right here for the folder name. Next, we need the name of your GA4 config tag. So if we go in here, you'll see this Google Analytics GA4 configuration. So we just need the name of this tag. And we'll drop that in here. Make sure you don't get rid of the string notation there. So that's all you need to do. Don't touch anything else. So then we're going to go to the top and push run. We'll probably get a pop-up asking us to allow permissions. Eventually, here we go. So you'll click review permissions. Select your Google account. You do need to be logged into the account that has access to GTM. And push allow. And then sometimes it gives you the warning and you have to go through it again. So we're gonna try again. And what this script will do is it will take all of those UA tags, they'll stay in place, but it will create an additional tag mapping over all of your settings into a new GA4 tag. You'll see in the log a success note if we successfully completed that GA4 tag addition. If you have more than 15 to 20 tags that you're doing, you will probably start to see some errors pop up here. The GTM API has a pretty low per user per minute rate. So you'll probably hit some rate limits. The script will time out for a while and then it'll retry that same tag. So then it might take a couple minutes for the script to run, but it should eventually get an execution completed. So then if you go into Google Tag Manager and refresh, then you should now have a new folder of Elevar GA4 behavior events with all of those behavior events set up for GA4. So we are setting, just mapping over what you had for category, action, and label, and then we added type of behavior, and the event name will be behavior. So then if you are running into BigQuery limits or something like that to where you're over the hit limit, you can easily exclude the behavior events if you don't need those over the BigQuery. Then you can QA or publish from there and you're good to go. All right, I think we have finally finished our agenda. So any last questions?
Do you need a glass of water? Or do you need to take a nap? That's the question.
I have my bottle here. Naps potentially.
Well, everyone that stayed on their 2 hours, thank you. Hopefully that was helpful. I can't see the link Laura said in one Q&A or one question. Vishal, can you post the UA to GA4 instructions again?
I'm pasting the link for Google Doc, and the sheet is already referenced inside that Google Doc. So the step one, if you look at the step one in the Google Doc, the sheets link will be there inside it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all. Appreciate all the kudos, Katie and Vishal. Awesome job. And this will be recorded, so we'll probably, again, likely it'll be tomorrow, and we'll send that out and try to consolidate all these different documents and links so you have everything in one place. Otherwise, Katie, Vishal, any last notes or comments from you?